Hello everyone, Game Gear Girl here, and I just want to do a quick pickup video from the Waterloo video game swap meet that I went to on September 20th. So this is my first time going to the swap meet, and my goal, as you can probably guess, was to pick up as many Game Gear games as I possibly could have. And I did pretty well. So why don't we take a look at the different games that I managed to score. When I first got there, I kind of did a quick loop around trying to suss out where all the games were that I was looking for. And I found a few different vendors who had different Game Gear games, but not as many as I was hoping to find. The first booth I came across that had Game Gear games had just a couple in a box mixed with random Game Boy games and different things of that kind. So I saw that they had 3 games there that I didn't have. And so these are those games. First we have Batters Up. And I know it's just a sports title, but you know, if you want to complete a collection, you're going to end up with some sports titles. The next one I picked up was Ninja Gaiden. And I actually thought I had this game already, but turns out I didn't, so I was very lucky there. And the last one I picked up was actually one I had never heard about before, and that was Magical Puzzle Pop-Bills. I couldn't really find out much about this title. You can see that it is actually a Japanese version, so I'm assuming it's one that we didn't actually have in North America, which there are quite a few of those that were only Japanese release. There was also another Game Gear there, and it had 20 bucks on it. And I didn't really want to pay the amount I paid for these games. I paid 10 bucks for Batters Up. I paid $10 for Magical Puzzle Popples, and then $15 for Ninja Gaiden. And I thought to myself, well, I'd really like a deal on those. And the gentleman, he says he couldn't really go any further down on the games, but if I wanted to pick up the Game Gear, he would give it to me for 5 bucks. He said he didn't know if it worked or not, and so I was taking a chance on it. I thought, well, you know, it probably won't work, but if it does, it's going to be a great score for me. Turns out it didn't work, but I still got these games, and actually they're pretty fun, especially Ninja Gaiden. It's a really, really great game. I was surprised by this because the Shinobi games on the Game Gear are not that great. Alright, so let's take a look at my next purchase. My next purchase is one I've been looking for quite a while, but never seemed to be able to come across. And I found actually a Japanese copy at the convention. Later, after I'd purchased this, I did find a North American copy, but what can you do? I don't mind. So here we have Tails Adventure. This was originally $15, but I asked him if he would do it for 10, and the vendor agreed, so I was very happy with that there. Now this is supposed to be a very, very good game, but unfortunately I don't really like it. It feels too slow for me, especially to be in the Sonic world. If you've played Sonic 2 and Tails is there, he is still quite fast. In this game it just runs far too slowly, and for that reason I'm not fond of it, but it's a great one to have in my collection, and hopefully it'll grow on me over time. Alright, so next up, I got these next 2 games for $5, so 2 for $5. And they actually didn't have any prices on because a lot of the vendors don't really care about Game Gear games. And so they were just in random boxes. And so those games are, we have The Simpsons, Bart vs. the World, and FIFA Soccer. Yes, yes, another sports game. But you know what? 2 for $5, I wasn't complaining. These games are getting harder to come by for me, and so especially this one. I already had the other Simpsons game, which was Bart versus the Space Mutants, and so it's nice to have this one, which actually plays better than the other Simpsons game, which is great. So those 2 were 2 for $5. All right. Now, the next ones I also got 2 for $5. It was kind of my theme of the day, you know, so these games were $5 each, but I asked if he would give me both of them for $5, and the person agreed, which was nice. So we have, dun-da-da, we have WrestleMania Steel Cage Challenge. Ooh, isn't it exciting? Not really, but again, something that I was glad to pick up because just something different. This is the first actually wrestling game I think I've ever purchased. So that was interesting for me. And then the other one which I got with it was Columns. If you saw my top 10 Game Gear games list, you know that I already had Columns, but this one is in a lot better shape. The label on my original one, which I had from being a child, which I did pick up used at the time, had a big brown stain on the label. So this label is pristine, which is great. And I wouldn't have picked it up except for the fact that I didn't want to pay $5 for this Steel Cage game. So I paired them together because there wasn't really any other games that they had, and got the 2 for $5. All right, now let's take a look. These are the most expensive games I purchased of the day, and I didn't really want to pay that much, but for these titles, I thought, you know what, I gotta do it. So here, first, I picked up Battletoads. Yes, Battletoads. And from what I've played of it so far, it is challenging, like everybody knows Battletoads to be, but also pretty interesting. You can still pick up rods and hit people with them, so kind of cool. I've only played the first level of it so far, but definitely one that I will want to play more of, which is like my next game. My next game is Bubble Bobble. And I had never actually played this game, but it's really cool. It's like a puzzle game, but you're this little dude who you can actually see here on the label, and you have to shoot bubbles to catch different creatures and then pick up what they leave behind, and kind of do that as fast as you can and then move on to the next level. So very interesting, something that I had heard of before, but I actually didn't know what the game was like. And yeah, kind of neat. Very simple, but fun. You know, you don't always need things to be so complex. So Bubble Bobble was originally $20, and yeah, $20 for a Game Gear game. Something not that I like to do ever. And then they had Battletoads at $15. So what I asked them to do is if they could do 2 for $30, and they agreed, so that was great. So I got to save the $5 on Bubble Bobble, which always makes me happy, you know? Anytime that you can ask for a deal, and even if it's not a lot off, if you can just save a bit of money on them, then that's great. So let's take a look. Now we're coming up to my biggest deal of the day. And these, they were all individually priced, but I worked out a deal. He said, you know what, just decide which games you want, and then I'll give you a price afterwards. And so I just kind of put them all in a stack together, and there was actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I ended up with 8 games. And that's kind of a huge score for me. It's very, very rare that I can pick up 8 games from one person or in one place. All right, so these are in no particular order. And I'm not going to tell you the original prices on them because I didn't really keep track of that very much. I know that the most expensive ones were $12, and there were 3 games at $12, and then they all varied from there with the lowest priced one being $4. So let's take a look. We have Super Space Invaders. Little change to the classic game, kind of fun. One of those things that you pick up and then you can't put down because you just have to keep playing and playing and playing and working on that high score. Then we have Poker Face Paul's Poker. Whew, try saying that 3 times fast. Poker Face Paul's Poker. Poker Face Paul's Poker. Whew. These are actually, there's quite a few of these. There are 3 of them, and the others being Solitaire and Blackjack. And so I was able to pick up that one as well, having Solitaire already. The next one is a cute game. It is actually a putting game. So it's putt and putter miniature golf. So not something that I will play. I did try it, but you know, something interesting to have and add to the collection. All right, so next up, I'm sorry everybody if you can hear my cat in the background. He just wishes to say hello. All right, so next we have Solitaire Poker. Yes, another card game. Nothing that's too great, but you know, who doesn't like Solitaire? Here we go. The next one was actually a good game that I was really excited to pick up, and that was going to be The Lucky Dime Caper starring Donald Duck. As you may know, my favorite game is actually Deep Duck Trouble starring Donald Duck. So it's very nice to have another Donald Duck game, and the controls and everything, they play very similar, and in this one you also pick up ice cream cones and things, so feels very familiar to me, and something that I will definitely enjoy playing more of. Okay, the next one is a game I had heard of before, but I never actually knew what it was about, and that's going to be Devilish. And it is nothing like I imagined it to be. If my memory serves me correctly, Devilish is actually some kind of puzzle game. And so I didn't really think it was going to be something like that, but yeah, kind of interesting, and just another one to add to my list. Next we have one that I have heard good things about, and that is Dragon Crystal. So that's something that a lot of people always have on their Game Gear lists, and so it's something that's really nice to pick up. Next we have, and this is the final game that I got from that lot, Clax. And this is a very kind of strange game with kind of bright colors and stuff. So this one was actually another interesting pickup for me. And for all of those 8 games, so we had Dragon Crystal, Clax, Devilish, Lucky Dime Caper, Solitaire, Putt and Putter, Miniature Golf, Poker Face Paul's Poker, and Super Space Invaders. I paid $60. So the gentleman actually gave me about a $10 deal. He gave me one of the games, I think, which one? Poker Face Paul's Poker for free. He just threw it in. He's like, you know what? I've got a ton of these, so you can go ahead and just take that one for free. And then with the discount he gave me on the others, it came to about overall a $10 deal. So they should have been about approximately $70, and I got them for $60. So, you know, not the greatest deal. I always hope to get Game Gear games for less. Definitely the Super Space Invaders, you know, I would like to pay under $5 for most of these, but not much you can do, you know? When you get to the amount of games that I have, you can't be picky. If you find them, you just have to pick them up, and that's the point that I'm at now. So very happy with that pickup. I have one more pickup from the video games convention, and or the swap meet, I should say, the Waterloo swap meet. And these ones actually finished my Sonic collection, so I was very, very happy about that. First up, we have Sonic Triple Trouble. Sonic Triple Trouble just plays like another Sonic game, either Sonic 1 or 2, not so much the Sonic Blast, which is kind of like 3D and strange. So another Sonic game. I loved these as a kid, and it plays very much like the first and second ones, so I will be happy to be playing that one. All right, now the next one is something I was very excited about because it's actually not one that you can find in North America. It's another Japanese release, and that is Sonic Drift 2. This is actually a Sonic racing game, so I played it very briefly, and it's actually not something that I quite enjoy, but it's something that you can't find here in North America, and so something that I was very happy to pick up. And those ones were $5 each. and I had asked if I could get 2 for $5, because as you saw earlier, that worked pretty well. I had had a couple sets of 2 for $5 games, and so I really wanted to keep that going. But I actually did all of this shopping within the first about hour and a half of the video games convention, and the gentleman said, ooh, it was too early in the day for him to let them go for 2 for $5. And you know, I understood that, I did, but he said he would give them to me for $7, so 2 for $7. So I actually saved $3 there, which, hey, you know, can't complain if you can save any money when you're doing this. That's great. So I was very happy to pick both of those up. There were 2 other vendors that I saw a couple random games in, but only individual games. And one of them, another one I had never seen before or heard of. And I really wanted to pick it up, but they only had the one game, so I couldn't really make a deal there. And with the prices that the game was, I just didn't want to have to pay that. So I actually left 2 games there out of the entire place that I didn't own, and I thought, you know what, that was pretty good. While I was there, I saw some local vendors actually that were in St. Catharines, Ontario, which is near where I live. And so I talked to them, and they told me that while they didn't bring any Game Gear games, they had just received a lot of about 20 into the store. So on my way home, that's exactly where I went, and they had 2 titles that I didn't have. So I'll show you those now. The first one is PGA Tour Golf 2. Yay, golfing! And it plays, you know, just like any other early golf game. You have to worry about which driver you're going to use, the power, etc., etc., and you have to use kind of like a crosshair to aim in the course. Yeah, golf. And then the next one I picked up was Poker Face Paul's Blackjack. So as you heard me mention earlier, there were 3 of these games, and now I have all 3. So let's take a look again at these 2 games. I paid $5 each for these. Now you have to remember that this was from a used game store, so you're not going to get the prices that you would at either a swap meet or out in the wild like at a garage sale. So I didn't want to pay $5 each, especially for the titles that they were, but 3 of the games that I got at the swap meet didn't have cases. I did very well getting cases for most of them, but 3 of them actually came without cases, and they actually included the 3 extra cases in with the $10 price, plus these 2 cases. So I got the 2 games and then the 5 cases for $10. And in my collection, I hate loose games. These cases make them really easy to stack because if you've seen a Game Gear game, they have kind of a ridge here that makes it quite difficult to stack them. They kind of fall all over after you stack, and then you have to stack them kind of back and forth, which is kind of frustrating. So I always make sure that I can buy them with these little plastic cases. So picking up those 3 cases actually made the $10 for these 2 games kind of worth it for me. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed my pickup video. If any of you have a chance to go to one of these Waterloo swap meets, I do suggest it. While it wasn't as big as I thought, there was a lot of good stuff there, a lot of rare things as well. I saw at least 3 Vectrexes, I saw different Atari Jaguar stuff, a lot of TurboGrafx 16 or like PC Engine Hue cards, which was great. Like one vendor had a huge stack of them. I would say there were at least, I don't know, 50, 100 cards there. And so definitely worth going if, you know, you're close enough to get there. For me, it was about 1.5 to 2 hour drive, so worked out for me. And that was it for my video, so thank you for watching.